He's getting a richer one.
Arrakis is a death trap.
They're picking my family off one by one.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tiberium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Dune Rough Riders motorized vehicles. Also, I'm going to talk about, briefly, about some of these roleplay items that they made back in the day. Now, I've already done a full review of the standard action figure toy line and the larger vehicle, the Spice Scout. But getting into these three are, from left to right, the Sand Tracker. Then there's the Sand Crawler, aka my favorite of the three. Then there's the Sand Roller. And I did get two of these to work. I actually had all three of them working a few months ago, but one of them I can't get to work again. But I will discuss a little bit about that, and I'll be discussing how these operate, because Rough Riders are kind of cool. They're kind of interesting. And LJN making those, LJN making these, and it just makes sense that they would expand the world of Dune. And there's not much stuff in Dune, so let's get into looking at these coming up. So I want to start by saying that the Dune toy line had large size figures. LJN made their Thundercats, and they made some other toy lines, and they made them larger than the 3.75 inch scale, which nowadays actually sort of blends relatively well with modern action figures. A little on the short side for modern action figures, but pretty darn close for 80s representations. But in order to make affordable vehicles that you could have, they had to make these a lot smaller. They did make one Spice vehicle, and that one is pretty cool. That Spice Scout is pretty cool, but it is big, it's massive, and it really doesn't do a whole lot for as big as it is, and the price point it probably was, and the price point it is now. But let's get into looking at these Stompers, and although they don't scale with this toy line, they are part of the toy line. So I'm going to start with this one here. This one is called the Sand Tracker. Now, I had it working, and I will kind of show you what to do to try to get these working again. And I could probably take it all apart again and get it working again. But let's talk about this guy here. Now, it is a pretty interesting looking vehicle. It's large. Could you imagine how huge this would be if it had to fit those figures? And this is why they went this route. It's got these bright orange wheels, and it's kind of got a tan exterior and then kind of a lighter tan, kind of cream color accents. He's got two of these guns, which I'm sure loose are usually missing. I guess I got lucky on that. But what you're going to see from all these, even in the package, I see the deterioration of the treads, the rubber treads that they use. It's just part of life, and a lot of these rubber treads go away. They disappear. They don't make it. They don't last very long. But with that, it's a cool, interesting design, and something to have in your collection simply because it looks really cool. And I will talk about price here in a little bit, but once you take these apart, they're effectively like Stompers, and I call them Stompers because this is what Stompers are. There's a lower area that has all of the mechanisms, and you got to put a battery in there, and then you turn them on and they go. But my motor froze up, and I got it working again, but then they sat for like 6 months and not going anymore. So what you do to make them work, you unscrew this, you basically take it apart, and the hard part, oddly enough, is getting them unclipped without breaking the clips. The unscrewing is not the hard part, it's these clips in here that's the hard part, to unclip them. And that's why I don't really want to go after it again to try to unclip it again, because I don't want to break those clips. But it's not that hard to get them to work. You take it apart, you add the electricity to it, then you spin the motor, and then if you're really brave enough, you can lubricate the motor. But yeah, that's kind of what you do with it. And then this clips on back on like this, and then there is how that clips onto there, and you got yourself the vehicle. And I think it looks pretty cool. But let's look at the other ones, because I got the other ones working. This one here is the Sand Roller, and it just rolls through the sand, and it is really cool looking. It's odd. Like, when I first got this, I had no idea what was the front and what was the back. I was like, which one's the front, which is the back? So I guess we'll find out when we turn it back on, right? And it's got this little sensor or gun or something going on right there. Now, I'm not sure if there's supposed to be more to it than that. I think that's all it is. Yeah, that's all it is. Kind of fits the world of Dune a little bit. Now, this one is kind of more of orange all over. They use the same colors throughout all these, but like this was predominantly orange, this was predominantly tan, and this one was supposed to have some rubber rider. Now, I've got a carded one of these I'll show here in just a little bit. And let's see how it looks on the card. And you'll see where the treads are missing, and they'll be on the carded one. Here is the card back. Rough Rider. So it technically was a Rough Rider toy. Wow, that's pretty cool. And LJN, Rough Riders, cool stuff. A friend of mine collects Rough Riders and Stompers. I do not. There is the giant Spice Scout, the Top Secret Sandworm. We'll talk about those two guns, and then this is these three right here. This does kind of show you how to do the battery and stuff. Doesn't show you how to get it working again, and battery installation. Collect them all. I want to say that I got this for like 30 bucks. I don't go after stuff, and as you can see, it's got like another thing on top right there. Yeah, it looks the same as this one here. This piece looks the same as this thing here. And notice that there's rubber tread just flopping around in there. You see that with almost all of these. That is definitely a problem with these Rough Riders, is that they screw up. So anyhow, there it is, and let's see the operation of this bad boy. Turn it on. And it goes that direction. Let's get into the next one. It is called the Sand Crawler. If they were to make any of these into the larger scale, I would probably pick this one. For the number one reason is because it has this giant windshield, and it's really cool, and it's removable. So if you're looking for one of these used, make sure you got the windshield. Lucky for me, I got these as complete and as good a shape as I did, all in one lot for like 30 bucks or something, and they work. Notice that the way it's set up, all four wheels move. And I think that's the same with Stompers too, but all four wheels move on it. It has this weird thing at the top which looks like you'd kind of push down on it and push some air, get some action going. Would have been awesome if they did include minifigures that you could have stuck in there. But then again, it would suck as a collector trying to track those down, wouldn't it? He's got these two little guns in the front, sandworm shooting guns. Does clip everything in there like that. And of course, I'm missing one of these treads. And at this point, I'd be happy if they were just like melted to it, like this one here is just melted to it. So, cool, interesting detail on the side, on the back, on the top. But yeah, I would pick this one out of all of them. I thought it was the coolest one when I got these, and I would love to see this made as the larger one. Then again, I don't know if I would love to see, if I would love to have display space for it. And the thing is I don't know why they chose what they chose, that Spice Scout as theirs, because to make the big one, it doesn't really make sense to me why they went with that one for the big one and not one of these other ones that could have fit more figures or you could have done more with. But anyhow, Rough Riders making some cool ones, and I'm not even sure if this stuff was even in the movie. It might have been. I just think it's kind of cool that they made something that feels like it would have been in the world of Dune on Arrakis. There are two role-playing weapons accessories that they sold back in the day. This was the Fman Tarpal gun, and this thing was interesting. I don't even know how it functions. I've never held my hands on one of these, and I considered picking it up just to put in the display, but it is kind of interesting. I don't really go after that kind of stuff. I'm not much into the role-play kind of stuff, but it is cool. It is interesting, and the more you collect these figures and you track down the part that you need for your figure, then you get kind of exciting to see something like this and go, you know, that is kind of cool. They made that back in the day. The next one, Sardar Laser Gun. I don't know if I'm ever saying that right. Sarduka laser gun. And that's another one that I tracked down the accessory, and I'm thinking, man, this thing looks kind of cool. It really does match the accessory. Whether they did a good job with this gun, this role-play gun, or they did a good job with the accessory that goes with the figure, either way, it looks right, and it is quite interesting. Now, I'm not, again, one that goes for that, but I do want to talk about price. These things are expensive. People pay a lot of money for these, especially if they work, and then they still go for like 50 to 70 not working, and people pay up to 100 to 200 if they're boxed and new. So yeah, these things are sought after because they're kind of cool, and there's just not much Dune stuff out there. Alright, so that's my look at the Dune Rough Riders motorized vehicles, and yeah, they're tiny compared to the regular figures. It would have been nice to have a different large vehicle other than the Spice Scout. But these are interesting. Getting them to work is a challenge. I did get these for like $30 for a set of these. They pop up once in a while like that. Generally, people are trying to get $30 per on these, and that's why I got my carded one in rough carded shape for about $32 also. But you can find these if you look for them hard enough. Right now with the movie out, I think the prices spike a little bit on this stuff because it's a pretty good movie. And with that, I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you guys collect Rough Riders yourselves? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Tydirium Hanger out.
There's something happening to me.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
I'll kill him.